Last week, specialists from the Australian Police and Defence Forces rushed to a place called Papua New Guinea, where 13 people were missing in a plane crash. Sadly, everyone on the plane had died, and 9 of them were Australians. But the crash has extra significance because the Aussies were on a sort of pilgrimage to a place called Kokoda. Here's Sarah to explain.
This is Papua New Guinea. It's an amazingly beautiful but very rugged place. Lots of steep mountains covered in thick jungle. To get there, you travel north of Australia. Its capital, Port Moresby, is just a short flight from Darwin. But while Port Moresby looks like some Aussie cities, parts of the countryside are very different. Those steep mountains make it very difficult to get around. It's one of the world's least explored places. Quite a few villages don't even have roads to them. If you want to go visiting, it means a good walk, or sometimes a plane is the only way in and out. Many people in those villages still live traditional lifestyles, living by growing crops and hunting. Australia still has very close ties to Papua New Guinea because we actually used to run it until it became independent in 1975. And there's another reason for the strong link between the two countries. In World War II, Aussie soldiers fought against the Japanese in the mountains along something called the Kokoda Track. As well as battling each other, they had to fight extremely difficult and dangerous conditions, trekking through mud and rain, up and down steep mountainsides. The Australians stopped the Japanese forces from getting to Port Moresby, and it became one of the most famous campaigns in military history. Today, many Aussies travel to Papua New Guinea to walk the Kokoda Track, to see what it was like. Many are honouring their parents and grandparents who fought in those battles. That's what the Aussies were doing on that plane that crashed last week. It's a terrible tragedy, and the families of everyone on the plane are very upset. Australia sent specialists to the site to help find the plane and work out what went wrong. But those steep mountains and heavy rains have made even that difficult. And investigators think that might have contributed to the crash. When you're up this high with lots of jungle creating moisture, there's lots of clouds. And in this sort of tropical area, the weather can change really fast. That can make it very difficult for pilots to see where they're going. But investigators won't know for sure for quite a while because they'll have to examine all the wreckage and try to work out if there were any problems with the plane. But eventually, they hope they'll find the answer so they can avoid any more crashes and give some answers to the families of the victims. And they also want to make it safer for other Aussies who want to walk the Kokoda Track.